and welcome to the 25th episode of Sweet Tea and Thread. I'm Shai, and you may do a double take. I'm going to let my partner in crime here introduce herself.
I am not Bethany. I am Lindy Severe. I am Shai's darling daughter, coming to you from New York.
Yeah, Lindy generously accepted my invitation to do this with me. Bethany has gone to school in Savannah, Georgia. She's at SCAD. And so she has been unavailable for podcasting. And I just thought Lindy has several things that she's done lately, and maybe she would join me in talking about knitting and such today. So I'm so glad you did, sweetie.
Sure. I figured as much as we talk about knitting anyway, we may as well do it, in front of America.
Yeah. And as usual, we'll kind of start out with our finished objects. I just have one, and so I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way because Lindy has a few, some really pretty stuff to show us today. But I finished my Winstead, and it's a long asymmetrical shawl, and I made it out of Millefiori Light Luxe. So it has just a wee bit of, I don't know if the sparkle will show up. Can you see anything sparkling?
I can't quite see the sparkle, but I believe it's there.
Yeah. So that just tells you it's minimal. It's enough to make it be fun. But I enjoyed working with this yarn. The pattern is designed by the Berroco design team, and the Millefiori Luxe is by Berroco. It comes in about 6 colors, and they're all gorgeous. We've shown them before on the podcast, but I enjoyed the knit, but I'm glad to have it off my needles so I can, start some new things. Or
it shows off it shows off the yarn really well, the pattern.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's a fun knit because you've got some garter stitch, some stockinette, and then you've got some eyelets. And so, it's changing all the time. And, just enough to keep your interest, but you can still, whatever you're binge watching at this point in time, it's good for that. So.
It looks it.
Yeah. So what you got?
Well, since Bethany couldn't be here, I brought Bethany's yarn.
Okay.
Earlier this year, I completed this sweater, which may be a little bit hard to see on a camera. It's she hand dyed it. It's a hang on, let me double check my notes here. It is a merino worsted weight, and I believe she called this color midnight blue. So it comes off a little bit navy, but it's not it's actually a little bit heathery kind of color.
Yeah.
And I was really looking, I had no imagination about color on this. I wanted to see exactly the way that I saw it on the pattern, and I couldn't have been happier with it. The only change I made was my midriff is a little bit lower than the designer's midriff. So I added 2 inches to the length, which is really easy. You started from the bottom up and did a real neat deep V-neck. And it's just a boxy kind of cozy sweater. Unfortunately, it hasn't been cold enough, and I haven't been going very many places, so I haven't gotten to wear it yet. But I am looking forward to opening all my windows once it's cold enough and just sit inside and wear my comfy, cozy sweater. What I thought one of my favorite things, besides just liking the pattern itself, is that sometimes it takes a long time to knit an adult size sweater. And an especially long time if you happen to be an adult who wants an oversized sweater. But because this was worsted weight held 2 together, it felt like it came together really quick. So I was real pleased with that. And I was extremely happy to be able to use that beautiful yarn that Bethany had dyed up. Because I think I actually saw it in the store when I was there on a trip home.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She had a little bit, but not a sweater's quantity like you were looking for. So yeah, so we got her to dye that up for you. I think it turned out great. I don't know that I've seen it on you yet. Did you model it for me one day shortly after you finished it?
I took some pictures. My husband was nice enough to take some pictures of me in it, but I haven't, you know, most of us haven't been dressed since March in New York. We've just been wearing our pajamas. So I haven't really gotten dressed and put on the boots and everything like I think I would wear it. But hopefully I'll be able to get out and about a little bit in December and January and try it out outside and get some better pictures is what I'm hoping.
Right. Speaking of that, I love the Graham Norton show, and I was watching, I think it's coming on Friday nights on BBC. And so I record it, and I was watching that today, and there was a comedian that was on there, and he was fully dressed from the waist up. Coat, pocket square, tie, you know, the whole works. Below the waist, he had on pajama pants and some house shoes. And he looked at Graham and he said, seriously, I thought this was going to be on Zoom. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, yeah. And I'm sure that was probably a spoof on his part. I mean, that was purposely done, but anyway, it was hilarious just the same.
Exactly. Frankly, I think that once we all go back to work, that's going to be the new style.
Well, you know, they've been wearing pajamas to Walmart and that kind of thing for a while, and now we'll just start wearing them to work.
Exactly. It was only a matter of time.
Exactly. What else you got for us?
So I actually ended up having a little bit of that yarn left over once I finished. Oh, the name of the pattern was Stormborn. I'm not even sure I said it was Stormborn, and the designer is Paige Parkin of the Knit Diaries.
Okay.
And so then I had a little bit of that yarn left over. I'm going to try to hold this up because maybe you'll be able to see the color a little bit better on this.
It's looking kind of gray.
Is it? No, it really does come off more as
it's a real pretty gray, kind of charcoaly gray, and kind of kettle dyed looking.
It doesn't help that I don't have great light in my apartment, and it's getting late here. But this is the Hat Dana by Denise Bayron, or Bayron. And actually, again, Bethany gets a mention because Bethany is who turned me on to this designer, and she has several things I thought I might make. But I love a stash buster, and so I did this, and it's a hat Dana, so it goes on like a hat, but it's opened up like a bandana. So you can wear it on your head like this and back. She also shows wearing it sort of as a scarf around your neck like this to be kind of a neck warmer. And then she also shows it, and I haven't tried this one yet, but she also shows it backwards, having it backwards as sort of a headband kind of a thing. So again, because I haven't been going outside a whole lot and it hasn't been that cold here yet, I haven't had a chance to try it out to see what my favorite way to wear it. But again, I'm planning in December and January to open the windows and get it cold in here and wear some of my knitwear. What I really liked about this is it has a nice cable down the center. And I was thinking that if you were somebody who hadn't really done a cable before, it'd probably be a good first time cable. And then it's got little tassels on it, which are always fun to have little tassels. Yeah,
we've talked about our love of tassels.
Exactly. I couldn't come on without tassels.
That's right.
I also thought it was great, and actually Stormborn had this too. Both designers provided some video tutorials you could go to. And I thought those were really helpful because sometimes you're just confused about what they're trying to get you to do in the pattern. And to be able to see a video tutorial of it, I thought was really was fun and was helpful to let me know I was on the right track. Because this kind of pattern isn't something I have knit before, so it can kind of be, you know, you're reading it and you say, you want me to do what now next?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to have that. And again, I loved the yarn so much, and I love a good merino. So I was happy to have another piece to be able to wear around my head and neck.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. That's nice. You had enough you had something really good to do with your leftovers, and that you had enough leftovers to do it. How much did that actually take? Do you know?
You know what? I'd have to check. It didn't take a whole skein, as you can see.
Yeah.
I think it took less than half a skein to do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it didn't take very much at all. And she just calls for a worsted weight yarn, and whereas the Stormboard, you were holding it double, this is just single.
Right.
Then the next thing I did was I got on the knit along bandwagon along with a lot of other of our thread friends. Yes. And Casapinka provided us some quarantine activities, which she
sure did.
I know I desperately needed at the time. And so I did the Casapinka Breathe and Hope shawl.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And because I have a good in at thread, and I think they were offering it to everybody else too, I was able to get to kind of talk about my dream colors, and was able to, of course, order online now through thread and get the yarn shipped to me so that I could participate with everybody else in the knit along. And I was real pleased with how this came out. I thought my very favorite part was the vertical striping. Just every time I finished the vertical stripe section, I held it up to show my husband. He became less and less thrilled as I worked through the pattern.
They just don't understand.
He didn't get it, but it was that made it really nice to do the knit along, because everybody there got it, how excited you were to have finished a section. And I am a lover of all things denim. And so you can see a trend. I did sort of a dark denim sweater, and then I did a light to medium denim shawl, but I think it just turned out really beautifully.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was a fun pattern, like the one you were talking about. There was enough to keep me interested, but I could still watch a movie. Or I think I was knitting this actually when Hallmark was doing their Christmas movies. So that made it a real fun time, since I was having to be inside so much.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that was fun. And we're doing our knit nights on Zoom, and anybody's welcome to join us. And that's where we were, getting together, working on our shawls for the knit along. And we post on Thread's Facebook page the meeting number and the code to get in, and anybody's welcome to join us that enjoys talking about knitting and crafting and just life in general too. So
I think this past week we discussed fall recipes.
Yes,
you just never know. Any kind of question you have for the group.
Exactly.
That's been, you have to look for silver linings where you can find them. And that's been the silver lining of this year, is being able to participate in Knit Night, because I had done it once before, again, when I came home to visit, but it was nice to be able to do it regularly. On Tuesdays, I'm working through my work day at home and can't wait to get onto the Zoom call so I can see what everybody else is up to and share whatever pattern I have, whatever I've completed that week. After, as some people may remember, after Casapinka gave us Breathe and Hope, then she gave us the Hug Shot shawl, which is the one I'm wearing here.
And it's gorgeous. I love it. I love your color combination.
My favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip. And every time I see this, I think of mint chocolate chip ice cream. So it always makes me happy. I think you can't, how can you be unhappy eating mint chocolate chip ice cream or wearing a shawl that is reminiscent of it? And we did this as a knit along, so that made it extra fun to be able to work through it with everybody else. I will say I liked Breathe and Hope better. I thought that there was just a little more interest in the pattern of the shawl. But what I liked, while I like the color of that one, this one was fun for me because of the colors. I went out on a limb a little bit and didn't do denim or gray, which are usually my go-to colors. So it was nice to do something that felt a little bit daring, to do such a contrast in color and watch it knit up. So that's what I thought was so fun about that one. Yeah.
And I think she did that one, to be a little bit simpler for that very reason. We've been in quarantine for a while, and people were just, kind of didn't want to do anything complicated, couldn't wrap their head around it. not that the Breathe and Hope is that complicated, but you do have to concentrate a little more
right
on that one than the Hug Shot. So
I
yeah,
agree.
and that's been really nice of her. Is that it for finished objects?
That's all I've got for finished objects, because after I finished Hug Shot, I had to get off the Casapinka train and get on to the Christmas train, which we'll talk about with works in progress.
Okay. Well, then we'll go there. And one work that's still in progress, and y'all, I'm a wee bit embarrassed. I had not realized, but I was looking back at something for DeShane and realized I've been working on this sweater like at least a year, if not longer. I had not realized it's been going on that long. But I guess
these things happen.
Yeah. I guess because I did the fun part, I don't know, let's see, the lacy, front.
Mm-hmm.
And I even got the back done because, we've talked about how I love some stockinette. And then I just couldn't seem to go any further, evidently, or something new yarn would come in. I thought, oh, we've got to get something made up in this, or, let's think of a knit along. And so things just get pushed back in the queue. But I have started the sleeve. I've messed around with it a little bit trying to figure out, how many to cast on, but I have got that started. So that's all I lack. And then weave in the ends, wash and dry it, and that'll be finished. And then I did start a new project. And right now it's just a big swath of stockinette, but it's going to be the Friendship Rebozo, and I'll insert a picture of what the finished product is supposed to look like. But it's basically you take it's a DK weight yarn, and you take 2 skeins of a solid and knit up, and then you have a variegated and a contrasting solid. And I'm going to use some Malabrigo dos Tierras, and I'm going to use this variegated.
Ooh.
And this blue.
That's
so
pretty.
You need another solid and a variegated to go with it. And I think this is in Vintage, which is an acrylic and wool blend, and the Dos Tierras is a superwash, merino wool. But I think these will work together really, really well.
Yeah, I think that looks great.
And see, actually, a little bit of that goes, and then let me get the tags out of the way. Yeah, a little bit of that goes, and then you put this on there and knit it up. And then this gets, the blue will be an applied, what's that when you, an applied I-cord border around the whole thing. So I think that's going to work out really well. I struggled there for a little bit trying to figure out what I was going to use for my variegated, but that Friendship Rebozo is by Lucinda Iglesias. That pattern's available on Ravelry, and of course we link all of these things below the video, so you can always check there for that information. And I will say the DeShane that I was just talking about, that's by Layla Raven, and she has increased her sizing on that. It did just come in like a small, medium, and large, and she's increased 3 more sizes to that pattern. So that's really nice. And I'm doing it out of flax, which is a DK, and the pattern does call for a Aran weight yarn. So that's why I've struggled a little bit about how many to cast on for the sleeves.
I think, and I think we might have talked about this the other day, that I think there might be a little bit of a trend towards kind of a great big wrap kind of thing, but depending on what area of the country you're in because of the weather, because more people are probably going to be encouraged to eat outside or have outdoor gatherings over the winter. And so I do think that having a bigger size wrap, so you can wrap it around yourself as much as you can, is going to be helpful. specifically for this winter. Maybe, you know,
Yes.
maybe in places like where you live, where you don't normally need quite as much cold weather gear.
All right. Well, what you got on the needles?
Well, back when I used to go to an office, I had a coworker that came to me with some worn out gloves. And I think he originally thought about asking me if I could fix them, but they were a little more worn out than what you could probably fix. Plus, I don't think he had any extra yarn. And so he thought better maybe commission some gloves. And he was an artistic fellow, so he didn't want to just do some kind of glove pattern that was already made up that you could get anywhere. So we had to get a little creative. I made some calls to my LYS, which is local only because it's on my computer, and a phone call to my mother. And we came up with a plan to do some gloves. This is a drops design pattern, and I guess they don't have a name for them. They just have numbers. So it's number 174-4 gloves, which is a fairly vanilla pattern that they show. You know, it was a men's glove in a gray color. We jazzed them up.
They're looking great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Let's see. Let me show one at a time. So this one, you know, if he didn't want full fingers, I could call this done. But yeah, unfortunately, I think he's expecting fingers. So what we ended up getting was the Urth Harvest fingering in fig. So that's the green. And then the Cascade Yarns Heritage Wave in rainbow. And when I originally was thinking about it, I thought I was going to do more of a, you know, laissez-faire kind of stripe situation where I was just going to be able to use it as it came out in the skein. And then I remembered that I like things to be symmetrical, basically. And so I wanted the stripes to be the same. And so in order to accomplish that, I had to unwrap the yarn enough that my husband said, "What are you doing? And why is there this yarn everywhere?" Because you have to kind of cut through it and figure out the right pieces so that you can get the matching colors. But I think I matched them up pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I'm done with the matching. I like how the colors came out. Hopefully he will too. When we first started this project, I thought I would be bringing them into the office every few weeks so he could see them. And I also thought I'd be finished by now. But when the quarantine came, there was no pressure to finish this project. And then on this one, I've started the fingers. So I might go back and redo the fingers, I've been thinking, because I tried it on myself since I don't have to try them on him. My hands are a little bit larger than most women. So I thought probably maybe I could see, and I think the fingers might be a little tight. So I think I'm going to maybe finagle with the fingers a little bit and redo them. It won't take that long. But I'm finished with the striping part, and that was the fun part. So yeah, I'm actually thinking that after I might finish these up here real quick before the holidays and get them sent out to him at this point. So I can just mostly so I can call them done. Right.
I like the way you're doing them though, where you decided to use the solid on the cuff and then on the fingers. I made your brother Joe some gloves one time with a self-striping yarn, and it was great for the cuff and the hand. When I got to the fingers, it looked like rolls of those rainbow lifesavers.
I was savvy enough to think that through when I started. So I knew from the beginning that as much, I'm not going to say trouble, but it was a little bit of work to figure out the striping and to get the right colors throughout the skein. So I knew I didn't want to have to figure that out on the fingers. So I was like, well, clearly the fingers are going to be solid. Yeah. And all the fun is happening on the hand. So, but I'm real pleased. I think they're coming out really nicely. You know, you always worry when you're making something for somebody else that is it going to be what he wanted? And I think it's the kind of thing where if he decides it's not what he wanted, I'm sure I can find another taker. Yeah. So I've got that going on. Now, typically I do not have multiple projects happening. Yeah. I'm usually a one project kind of gal. Enter the year 2020. And this year required a few more glasses of wine and a few more projects on the needles. Yeah. So the other main project I've got going on right now, I alluded to getting on the Christmas train. I wanted to make a Christmas sweater. And if I wear it nowhere else, I know I can wear it on our weekly knitting call, and everyone will be delighted.
Yep.
I didn't want to do. I don't like the idea of ugly sweaters, because I think all sweaters have some beauty.
Yes.
But I didn't want to do something that was very colorful. I wanted to do something that was a little more of a subtle Christmas sweater, and I just loved this pattern when I saw it. The pattern is, drum roll, it's called Julgran, Julgran, and the designer is Andy Satterland. And it's got this great Christmas tree on the front that you do. So it's a reverse stockinette, and then you follow a chart to make the tree. And so the tree is the knit side, and the rest of the sweater is the purl side. And it's been great. I have really liked it. I thought the shoulder join that she did was really clever. You can't even really see where it's joined. You can feel it a little bit, but you can't really see it. And I thought she did it really clever. It's going to have a little bit of a turtleneck, kind of like a mock turtleneck kind of a thing. And then what's supposed to happen here, I actually tried it on today, and I'm going to add a little bit to the length. I think probably 3 inches. Luckily was a pretty easy thing to try on since it's top down. So I think I'm going to add 3 inches to it, and then it's also supposed to be a little bit cropped, and you do a ribbed border at the bottom. One of the things I also liked about this is that I don't usually like to knit from charts. If I have a pattern that has a chart and has it written out, I always choose written out over charted. But I've been wanting to get a little bit better with charts, and she didn't provide the directions written out in the pattern, so I had no choice. If I wanted to make, I guess I could have written it out myself, but I also wasn't going to do that. But I actually discovered some tricks in Knit Companion, which I've been using for a little while, but hadn't really used the chart feature. And that made it kind of fun to figure out both the chart feature in Knit Companion along with the chart. I'll be honest, I did have to knit the chart portion, the portion of the sweater that includes the chart, about 3 times, and it required an emergency phone call to my knitting consultant to figure out what I had done wrong. But once I got it going, I thought it was a lot of fun, and really fun to see how it worked up. And I think it's going to be a fun Christmas sweater that's going to be, nice enough that I could wear it to my office Christmas party, or to somebody's very casual tree trimming party or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited about it. The yarn, and then you'll have to explain how I got the yarn, because I knew I wanted green. And so I ended up with Earth Harvest worsted in pistachio. But I remember you didn't actually have that in the store to send me. Right. So there was some special magic you did.
Yeah. Well, several companies, Urth being one of them, is offering a drop ship program. So our customers are not limited to what we have in the store. If they find something on Urth's website that they're interested in, through your local yarn store, you order it, and we send them the order, and they will drop ship that yarn directly to you. And you have to order through the store, but they don't send it to us and then us to you. They send it directly. So that works out really, really well.
Yeah, it got here really fast, because I remember having an idea of when I wanted to be able to start the sweater, because I was finishing up something else, and it came just in the right time. The color, this color is pistachio, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it's a nice, I didn't want Christmas green. I wanted something that felt a little more modern. And so I couldn't be more pleased. It's a real nice, soft, cushy, cozy kind of yarn. Yeah. I think it's good for a sweater for this time of year.
Yeah. Urth makes some really nice yarn. That yarn is 100% merino. And you've already talked about your love for merino. All
it's
things
true.
merino.
I think probably if I have 5 projects, 3 to 4 of them will be merino, probably.
Yeah.
Although I am trying, clearly though, I'm trying to break out of three or four of the 5 projects being gray.
Yeah.
Or denim. So that's a step forward.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you got on the needles in the works?
That's all I have to share right now. I've got a few other things, you know, I might be thinking about and maybe need to dig out and finish up if I'm going to have some extra time.
Yeah.
As you said, if we continue to sort of be in lockdown. But those are the projects I'm focused on right now.
Yeah. Well, your job has already told you that y'all won't be going back before early spring, did you say?
Yes. Well, no, I think they actually said late spring.
Late spring? So you've been working from home this whole time.
Right.
And,
although, unfortunately, that doesn't result in a lot of extra knitting time.
No, but your commute time, you know.
That's what I was going to say, but I do get my commute time back. And so it's nice to be able to have that time to knit.
Yeah. Instead of having to load it all up to take it with you to knit on the bus or the subway, you just have to drop it on your couch and walk over to your.
And I'm not getting the injuries I used to get from knitting like this.
Yeah. Oh. Well, when you finish what you've got on the needles right now, you got anything lined up that you think you want to start next, or?
I've had a couple of thoughts. I have had a dream to make a sweater for my husband. We've been married, well, as you would know, because you were there.
Right.
We've been married for a little over 7 years. And so I've had that dream for about 7 years because I subscribe to the boyfriend sweater myth that you shouldn't knit your boyfriend a sweater, wait till he's your husband. So I've been thinking about that, but it's a lot of pressure because my husband has discerning tastes. And so it has to be the very perfect thing. So I'm always trying to figure out what that might be. And then, like sometimes happens in knitting, something else catches my eye that I just want to make instead. Yep. So the thing that caught my eye most recently, I looked up the name of the pattern, is Marlouise. Is that what way we decided it was pronounced? Mm-hmm. Marlouise.
Yeah, I think so.
The designer is Jennifer Dassaw, and it is it's cast on in the round from a center square, and then it expands in bias chevron wings to each side, and it is a color blocked wrap, and it's quite sizable. I believe when I showed it to you, you thought it looked like a lot of scarf.
I did.
But as I said earlier, now that there have been articles coming out about, you know, needing something cozy to wrap yourself up in, specifically in New York, it gets pretty cold here. Yeah. While you're eating, I thought, well, there's a good excuse to make this. I need it for when I go eat outside. Yeah. And so I'm thinking about that. There's also a lot of garter stitch in it. So it just seems like it's a really interesting pattern. And I think probably by the time I finish some of this other stuff, probably I wouldn't get to it till we're through the holiday or into the Christmas break. It'll be a nice thing to maybe start it. Yeah. I think it'll be fun to figure out colors.
Do you have it pulled up on Ravelry that you can kind of show us a picture of it? Or
yep.
That is a lot of scarf.
There you go.
But yeah, it'd be perfect for what?
Marlouise, aka a whole lot of scarf. That's so
That'll
much
be great for what you can really bundle up in that.
I think so. And the other thing I keep picturing is me sitting on the couch with my cup of tea. And you know, when you're making something that gets big enough that you start to have to drape it on yourself, that's what I keep picturing, is I'll be able to drape this, how nice and cozy and fun it'll be to drape it on myself while I'm sitting on the couch watching a Christmas movie or something.
Yeah. It will. I love that. Like when I've knitted some of those baby blankets, the Appalachian for samples at the shop, that's one of the nice things. You can start draping it over and you think, boy, this is nice and cozy.
Exactly.
Well, I have a queue of things that I keep thinking, and all the yarn here at the house that I've brought from the store that are supposed to be samples for the store, and but one of the things that I want to do is Andrea Maury's Weekender. That's been on my list for a long time. So I think I'm going to make myself finish the Shane and the Rebozo shawl, and then I think I'm going to cast on for the Weekender. Or I also want to do Joji Locatelli's cedar. I really like that sweater, and I've got the yarn here at the house all ready for that. That was one of the things I wanted to do this year, is become a sweater knitter, and so far I've knitted one sweater. Well, I almost have the Shane done.
One sweater makes a sweater knitter. You can say that you've knit a sweater this year.
Right. Well, I knit a sweater, but I mean, I had dreams of knitting several sweaters, but again, I'm easily distracted. And so I've knitted a lot of things this year, just, not so many sweaters like I thought maybe I would. But I think I'm to the point where instead of concentrating on something being a sample for the shop, I think, we're kind of there, have something for all the yarns we carry and that sort of thing. And so now I can concentrate on some things that I just want to knit for me,
That's nice. And what a perfect time to get to that place sort of in the holiday season. That could be your gift to you.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it. Thank you.
And if you want to knit some socks while you're knitting things that you like to knit and send them up to New York, that would be fun too.
That's true. I am behind on I'm already behind on my holiday knitting. Since I haven't started any socks, I've got to get busy on that. They don't take very long. It's just, getting started, as is everything, I guess. All right. Well, I guess that's everything for our knitting adventures today. We can talk about tea. I am simply having some delicious Louisiana tea, hot, with a little bit of sugar and a lovely little lemon slice. My introduction to this is my kind of my tea story. My introduction to afternoon tea was with a lady named Hedda Ganda. I don't know if I've told you about her before, but she was a lady who escaped Hungary during World War II. And she came to America, and she taught some classes, like she taught French, Coleman College. And that's where my mother, Grams to you, met her, because she was working there and she took her French class. And so they became good friends. And my mother decided that it was an opportunity to give me some culture. And I went to her. She had an apartment there at the convent. And I would go there. She would make these delicious little pastries. They were just beautiful, and then serve tea. And I'm sure she was serving, Lipton tea. I mean, we didn't have all the companies, or were not aware of companies where we could get all the fancy loose teas and things that are so easy for us now. But and she would have the thinnest little lemon slices, to put in your tea. And it was a lovely time. And I would go and visit with her, and we would read classics. Together. And so anyway, so that was my introduction to afternoon tea. And I've loved having hot tea like that ever since.
Well, I never knew that. Thank you for sharing.
Have I not ever told you that
story before? Yeah.
So anyway, so it's a very fond memory. When I was high school age, like maybe 16, I think 15, 16, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so what are you drinking today? I saw a little pug cup.
There is my hand painted pug cup that was a gift from somebody. So you mentioned some of the fancier tea places. Actually, a lot of the fancier tea places where we would normally go to get some of the teas have been closed.
Oh, really?
Because of the pandemic. So I had to come up with a tea that's available via Fresh Direct, because that's how all my groceries are getting to me these days. But luckily, I really like this tea. It's by Tea Pigs. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand.
All right, what's the brand again?
Tea Pigs, as in pork. Tea Pigs.
Okay.
And my favorite one of theirs is lemon and ginger. And so it's been kind of my go-to tea for a little while now. And I enjoy it with a little agave and a little bit of lemon.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just think it's got a real good, I like ginger a lot. So that's I think how I first saw it, was that it had ginger in it, and I thought I would try that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds delicious.
Yep, it is. I'm enjoying it very much. It's been, I've got my ginger essential oils also going, diffusing throughout. So I've got a lot of ginger going on in here today.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for us today. I appreciate, Lindy, you jumping into the podcasting world with me. It's been a great pleasure. We didn't, because Bethany usually does it, I didn't think about welcoming all returning viewers, and you are most welcome. And also welcome any new viewers who might be watching us. And we really appreciate you. We'd love for you to subscribe. And also you can hit the little bell that will give you notification when a new episode is up. And leave us a comment. We really enjoy hearing from our viewers, and we want you to know we appreciate you. So I guess that's it for us, and we'll sign off. I will talk to you later, sweet pie.
I'll talk to you later. It's been delightful.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.